Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We know you're probably spending a lot of time at home these days, and maybe you're taking advantage of that time to look at old photos and videos of family vacations and gatherings. Well, we at Chronicle thought it might be a good time to look back as well at some of our more memorable moments. One of the questions we get more than any other is, whatever happened to the old Chevy? Longtime co-anchor Peter Mehigan and his trusty '69 Chevy logged a lot of miles together in Maine. For those of you who missed those years, and those who missed the Chevy and Peter, here's a look back, beginning with an interview from 2016, where Peter explains how it all began. How did the whole On the Road series with the Chevy begin?
Judy Stoya, who was the producer at the time, one of the producers, came to me and said, I want you to come up with a show that you want to do. And I said, Judy, I have an idea. I said, I have an old Chevy. It's out in the weeds behind my house. It needs work. If you pay to fix it up, I'll take it to Maine 4 times a year and see what I can find for stories. She bought it. The joy for me was driving down a road and seeing a sign for a cheesemaker or something like that, putting on the brakes, going into the driveway and seeing if the old codger would talk to me.
I made the crack one time that in Maine we didn't write books, we lived them.
John Gould, the Maine writer, said to me one time that the stereotype of the cold, unfeeling Mainer was really not true at all. That comes from people who ask the wrong question and got the right answer, as he put it. You know, like, lived here all your life? Not yet.
The old Chevy first hit the road in 1987 and began to develop its own cult following. Call it Chevy Envy.
Brian Metrano of Bellingham found this, a 1969 Chevy Impala Custom. Hey Peter, look familiar?
Same squeak.
Joe Scola of Medfield owns this old Chevy. We wondered, does this Chevy make road trips to Maine?
Sure, if Peter wanted to meet me up there and, have a lobster roll, sure, I'd meet him up there.
While the Chevy did once cruise its way along Dot Ave, Peter logged most of its miles down east.
I was never recognized in Maine, except for the extreme southern Maine where they got the program. But one time I went to Canada. And I went to Nova Scotia, and I took the Chevy and got off the ferry, and people started waving at me.
Yes, Chronicle is seen in Nova Scotia nightly at 8:30.
And I was astounded. I was so far from home to encounter this whole bunch of Chronicle viewers.
In 1993, the Chevy hit a near-fatal roadblock when the body was in dire need of an overhaul. Enter Dan Simard.
He wrote me a letter offering to have his students at Westford's Neshoba Valley Technical High School restore the old Chevy as part of their auto body program. It was 1969 all over again as the Chevy rolled off the assembly line.
A little more than a decade later, Peter's longtime Chevy whisperer, David Dauphiny, diagnosed new problems.
They just blistered away too much.
Enter a new old Chevy. A virtual twin that David found in Vermont on eBay.
The original car basically rotted away, and so we had to do something in a hurry. So we put the two cars together. So most of it is original, the doors, the trunk, the engine, the hood. I still call it the original old Chevy, even though it has a few new wrinkles. We covered thousands of miles in this car. I went to every county in Maine, including Aroostook County, the last show we did. It was the only county in Maine I hadn't been to. It was so far away.
It is New England's Big Sky country, Aroostook County, Maine. The landscape is wide open, agricultural, reminiscent of the American Midwest. Up here, they call Aroostook simply the county.
People ask me, well, where did you get the car? But it was actually a family car. It belonged to my wife's aunt, Catherine Sliney of Belmont, Massachusetts, and when she passed away, we acquired it, and the rest is history.
What did happen to the old Chevy? That's next. So whatever happened to the old Chevy, you wonder? Well, here it is, under the care of Dave Doffney, the car whisperer. And he says his plan is to get the old Chevy on the road again. You know, they say a cat has 9 lives, and the Chevy certainly isn't far off. It always managed to get Peter wherever he was going, winter, spring, summer, or fall. Like on this visit to Piscataquis County in Maine, home to Maine's tallest peak, Mount Katahdin.
To this flatlander, close up for the first time, Katahdin doesn't look like a New England mountain. One is reminded of the Rockies. It has an almost mystical aura that led Native Americans to shun the upper heights. A man from Boston, Charles Turner Jr., led the first party of white men to climb Mount Katahdin in 1804. 4 decades later, Henry David Thoreau made the ascent, writing later, "What a place to live, die, and be buried in. There certainly men would live forever and laugh at death and the grave." Katahdin is part of Baxter State Park, named for the visionary Maine Governor Percival Baxter, who, after leaving office in the mid-1920s, began buying parcels of land to include in a park that would be forever wild. Baxter gave more than 200,000 acres in trust to the people of Maine. What body of water is this, Jensen, right here?
This is Lower Togue Pond.
Park Director Jensen Bissell is now in charge of fulfilling Governor Baxter's mandate that the park be preserved and open for the outdoor pursuits he enjoyed here as a young man.
The governor gave the park to the people of the state of Maine, but there are no restrictions at our boundary to who gets in. So we do try to protect our resource first. That's far and above our utmost priority is the protection of the resource and the wilderness qualities of the park. And secondly, to provide recreation for people of Maine and others.
To capture the salty flavor of the Maine of bygone days, you have to travel a bit, as in an 8-hour drive in the old Chevy to the far northeast corner of the state. Eastport bills itself as the easternmost city in the United States, a short row in a dory from the Canadian border. That's Campobello Island, New Brunswick, just to the east. Both sit on Passamaquoddy Bay, a stunning waterway where bald eagles are nearly as common as seagulls, and white-tailed deer browse at the water's edge. Eastport has a frontier feel. Witness the name of a former bank, now the local police station. It is charming, scenic, and in recent decades a hard place to make a living. The city's 21 sardine canneries are empty and crumbling. Nice to meet you, Maynard.
Yes, very nice.
Just to the north in the town of Perry, Maynard Morrison had faith that the once abundant herring would return. He kept his fish weirs while his neighbors let theirs fall apart. Last year, Maynard surprised everyone with a banner year on sardines, sold by necessity to a Canadian packer.
Last year was an odd year. We just kept at it, and so many people says, "You're crazy, Maynard, spending all that money building these wares up." Oh, I says, they're coming back, and it's a great deduction, too. I fool around with the stock market, and I do quite well sometimes. So I need some deductions.
And they did come back.
And they come back last year.
Driving around the hills of Eastport, outsiders are often struck by the graceful old houses, some restored by outsiders, many with great bones, as the realtors say, just sitting and moldering away. The mystery writer Sarah Graves and her guitar maker husband John Squibb stumbled upon this house 10 years ago.
In June, we'd never heard of Eastport, and that Christmas we lived here.
Sarah Graves' Bantam Mysteries are unique, billed as a home repair is homicide series. In them, she sprinkles restoration tips, practiced by her heroine in an old Eastport house where murdered corpses have been known to turn up.
There's very useful stuff in these books.
I guess so. I mean, unless you really want to murder somebody, there's no sense reading murder mysteries for information. But yes, and I really do try to make sure that the hints or tips that I give are legitimate.
While Sarah Graves dabbles in death and home repair at the computer, her husband John turns out acoustic guitars in his attached shop. We learned he's a pretty fair musician as well.
Sarah Graves' latest mystery series is Death by Chocolate, and the setting is a bake shop right on Eastport, Maine. And back to Baxter State Park, Park Director Jensen Bissell has retired since Peter's visit. He looks forward to being a visitor, though, saying the park kind of gets into you and you take a piece of it with you. By the way, the northern terminus of the Appalachian Mountain Trail is the summit of Mount Katahdin. Up next, when we come back, where to find a classic old wooden boat.
I'm still traveling the main streets and back roads. This is my baby right here. This is a World War II vintage Grand Laker from eastern Maine. I take it to Maine spring and fall and float down the Penobscot River or fish the lakes of Rangeley or eastern Maine, and it's a great joy, and it's a classic old wooden boat, which I've always loved. Driving east-west in the state of Maine isn't easy. Mostly the roads are like this one, Route 9, one lane in each direction. They call Route 9 the Airline. It was built by the Postal Service 150 years ago, and it's said that early aircraft used it to navigate down east. The Airline runs 100 miles between Bangor and the junction of Route 1 near Calais and the Canadian border. I turned the Chevy north and doubled back west to the small backwoods town of Grand Lake Stream.
I've seen Shaw walking up and down the road here. He's been in a couple of times.
We had people to meet, like storekeepers Kurt and Kathy Cressy, and Sonny Sprague, boat builder and Maine guide.
There's been a lot of tales told here. A lot of fish caught, a lot of deer shot.
I ran across Sonny on what's called the Liar's Bench in the Cressy's Pine Tree store.
Do you have a favorite lie?
Do I?
Yeah.
All my stories are lies. I don't tell the truth. The truth is not in me.
Like his father before him, Sonny builds a wooden boat called a Grand Laker, a craft invented here, named for the vast Grand Lakes above town. It's essentially a 20-foot canoe with a square stern to take an outboard.
So this is how you make them now, huh?
Yeah. This would be right off in the way the mole is down there now.
Sonny and 3 other local craftsmen, Bill Schammel here, continue to turn out Grand Lakers the old-fashioned way, bending cedar ribs and planks to a mold and covering them with canvas or fiberglass.
If I was to walk in the door and say, I want you to build me a canoe, when would I take delivery?
Year after next.
Year after next.
Maine's winter landscape is a stark world of white, numbingly cold, a challenge to the aging systems of one 1969 Chevy. Her owner is challenged by it too. Yet to those who work outdoors in winter, like the men and women of Maine's Warden Service, a 0 day here in Greenville can be downright temperate compared to places farther north.
Last Thursday morning, it's 22 below here, and I'm sure at Rip Dam and Chamberlain Lake it was probably 35 below.
Pat Dorian is the lieutenant in charge of the Greenville Regional Headquarters, District D, a vast area of woodlands and lakes, some 8,000 square miles, larger than the states of Connecticut and Rhode Island combined. Dorian has 3 sergeants and 21 district wardens to cover this huge area. There are no police officers in the backcountry. The game warden is the law. I'm going on patrol with District Wardens Jared Herrick and Glenn Annis on snow-covered Moosehead Lake. We are bound for the backside of Kineo Mountain to check on ice fishermen. That's your humble reporter on the back of Jared's sled.
We've had people hide fish under the cowlings of snow sleds, in the backs. I mean, we've seen it all, but for the most part, I think people are trying to do things right.
The old Chevy with its suspect springs must be driven at a dignified pace, which is fine. Go too fast and you'd miss places like Head Tide, said by some to be the most perfectly preserved village in all of Maine. I turned south for the coast by the graceful old mansions in Bath. The 18th and 19th centuries really were the good old days here. At the tip of Hermit Island in the town of Phippsburg, something remarkable was happening. At the shop of master boat builder Rob Stevens, a Viking ship was being built, true to a 1,000-year-old design. It is the dream of Hodding Carter IV, 34-year-old son of the former State Department spokesperson.
This is not the idea that people have of a Viking ship at all. I mean, everyone thinks of like the warship and all the guys rowing and the dragon heads, and as you can see, we don't have any dragon heads.
What this is a Knarr, a Viking merchant ship, the type Leif Erikson sailed on his voyage of discovery from Greenland to North America. The plan was to ship the completed vessel by container ship to the southern coast of Greenland. Then Carter and his crew would retrace Erikson's route, some 1,900 miles, up the west coast of Greenland, across the Davis Strait to Baffin Island, then down the coast of Labrador to the northern tip of Newfoundland.
How did this all happen?
I guess it's just an overactive imagination and children's books. I had all these history books when I was little, on the Vikings, on Lewis and Clark. I guess they stuck with me.
Like Leif Erikson, Hodding and his crew were venturing into the unknown, an open 54-foot boat with a single square sail and 6 oars.
The whole thing is very intimidating because of the ice and the rocks up there and the fact that we don't have a motor. I had many captains say they didn't want to be captain for that reason, because we weren't going to have a motor.
It took 2 tries, but Hodding Carter did complete his epic voyage in 2000. He chronicled that adventure in a book called A Viking Voyage, and the boat was then donated to the Canadian government. As for shipbuilder Rob Stevens, he's already at work on another historic project, a replica of Maine's oldest ship, the Virginia, built in 1607. When completed next year, it'll be used for excursions up and down the Kennebec River. Up next, no, the Chevy is not for sale.